How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame and we are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be looking at our edition for Game Week 9 of buy, hold, and sell players that we think that you should buy for the coming game week, as they either have a good fixture, maybe certain to be nailed on for this game week, or have a good run of fixtures. Players that you should hang on to, whether they blanked or haven't been, doing too well, or they might have a bad run of fixtures coming up, and players that I think that you should get rid of and sell immediately, either because they're injured, because they have a bad run of fixtures, they haven't been playing well, maybe they're getting subbed early, who knows. But this is where the series where we discuss all three of those options. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We greatly appreciate it, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content, much like this video, as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. The links are in the description for those. You will see a pinned comment down below as to when we'll be doing our deadline stream. It will be 1 hour before the deadline this game week, as the game start on a Saturday this week, which is nice because the past few weeks I've had to do it the night before because I haven't been, basically back home in time in order to do the stream, because it's in the middle of the week, and it's much better for me if it is on the weekend. So since there's an early kickoff on the Saturday and that's the first game of the week, we'll be doing it then. But make sure to check out in terms of the time that we'll be going live in the pinned comment down below, and to check Twitter if there are any updates or final lineup news for my team, as well as any videos that are posted. So without further ado, let's see how we did in game week 8. So these are the players that we chose to buy, hold, and sell for game week 8. We had a bit of a, half good, half bad across the board entirely. So for the goods, we had a good buy in Timo Werner. For those who got him, he got a goal in the 4-1 win for Chelsea, and ending up getting 7 points overall. Rashford picking up an assist, could have potentially scored as well had he just had a little bit of extra hair on top of his head, or maybe his forehead was just a little bit close to the ball and he could have headed it in, which ended up being Bruno Fernandes's goal. And then Matt Ryan, who we said to sell, was actually ended up being quite good, getting himself a clean sheet for the week. And in there, no draw, came straight back in the team. I thought it was a bit weird. Maybe it was something going on behind the dressing room. Clearly, it was, immediately rectified, because both him and Maupay came straight back into the team. So, a bit of a mixed bag there. And then some blanks for the week. Callum Wilson, we said to buy, only getting 2 points. Foden didn't even feature at all, even though he's been playing, pretty good in the most recent game for England. Obviously, he got 0 points there. And Jimenez was actually a good sell, only 2 points there. So a bit of ups and downs there overall. Not great. We would like to get the buys and the holds and the sells correct, all of them if we can, every week. So we'll hope to improve that this week. So let's see who we have on our buy list for game week 9. So one of our 2 players to buy this week is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but he has been doing quite well in terms of his performances, and he has finally been rewarded for it last game week, getting himself a brace. That's Ollie Watkins, who currently sits at 6.1 million, the same price as Patrick Bamford at the time of recording. He's got 47 points, he's got 6 goals, 1 assist. 5 of those goals came in 2 games, so keep that in mind. He's only 7.4% owned, and he averages 6.7 points per game. He has a very good fixture versus Brighton at home next, and has a very good run of fixtures up until the end of Christmas, and he scored 13 points in his brace performance in game week 8. Now, I think that if you have Jack Grealish, I think Watkins or Ross Barkley as a pairing could be quite good. Now, Watkins, we've known, is on penalties. We had Barkley, Watkins, and Grealish all on the field at once when they received their first penalty of the season, and the ball was given to Watkins, who put it away as he did. Now, he may score in bunches. Now, that may just be kind of an inconsistency in form thing, or just maybe that he's very good at hauling, which is very good for potential captaincy choices. Now, for somebody who's, a little bit on the cheaper side, he's not considered a premium asset. Is that good? Yes and no, but you're going to have situations where he's going to do really well one game week and you're going to shoot up the ranks, and then there's other weeks where he's going to be just kind of average. So have to kind of keep an eye on that. In my opinion, I think if you definitely have Grealish, he's definitely a buy. If your forward line set, then I would definitely go for the likes of either Grealish or Barkley or both. And I think that Aston Villa could be a must, something that I have to look into to get into my team, because I don't have any Aston Villa players at the moment, and I am greatly considering Watkins, Grealish, and Barkley all as potential incoming transfers for my team this game week. Now, this is a bit more of a differential one, and maybe it's kind of the side to the fact that I am a United fan, but I think that Alex Telles could be an interesting buy for this game week. They do play West Brom at home. He has yet to feature in the Premier League, but he has been given the all clear as he did play versus Uruguay. And he seems to be, perfectly fine. He didn't test positive twice from what I've seen in the reports. It was just the fact that it was a false positive and he'd been around somebody who had tested positive. He had tested positive previously, but as far as I'm aware, the way, basic biology works, once you build up an immune to the virus, you cannot test positive twice. In terms of you physically being, having the disease, as it were. You could potentially spread it, I think, but I'm not sure what the logistics are on that. But if he is raring to go, he could be an interesting differential. He's going to take some free kicks off of Bruno Fernandes, which kind of takes his kind of value down. He's also going to take some set pieces in terms of like the corners and stuff, maybe the longer free kicks off of Fernandes, which is again, plays into his value. And he's only 5.5 million. And if there's anything to kind of go off his numbers from when he played at Porto, he's very good with his left foot. And with Luke Shaw out for around 4 to 6 weeks, he's probably going to be starting game in, game out. And I think he could be a massive differential. He's the type of player like Fernandes who's going to want to get involved, want to put in challenges, want to kind of stamp his authority on the game. And I think he could be a fantastic differential pick. And he could be a little bit of a cheeky buy this game week for, having a United asset potentially going forward as someone who can do as much damage as potentially the likes of Chilwell and these sorts of defenders who are known for their attacking output, who have gone up in price. Telles could definitely fit that mold, and he might start off with a good fixture versus West Brom in Game Week 9. Now, the holds this week are going to be pretty straightforward in my opinion. I own both of these players, and the first one is Heung-min Son. He's got 74 points this season, averages just over 9 points a game, 8 goals, 2 assists, almost 60% ownership. He's going up in price quite a bit, and he plays Man City next. So it's a bit of a tricky one because this is the start of a very long run of fixtures for Spurs all the way up until the new year, which are very, very difficult. They play Man City, they play Chelsea, they play Arsenal, they play Crystal Palace away from home, who have been defensively quite sound. They play a bunch of different teams. Liverpool, I think, is even in there as well, which could be season defining. Now, if there's anything that Mourinho teams like to do, they like to sit back. What are they going to do versus City? They'll let City have the ball. They'll let them pass it around. It's just a matter of if the likes of Son and Kane can get on the ball enough to create counterattacking opportunities to score. Whether we'll see that, this will be probably the game where you can kind of decide which one to keep out of Son and Kane, if you're going to be keeping any of them at all. But I think Son is the more likely candidate at the moment to potentially be on the higher point scoring end. If he's going to get a goal on the counter attack, it's probably going to be him or probably Bale if they play, or Mora, whoever's going to be the out ball, as it were. Now, that being said, they could also be taken down for a penalty, in which case Kane is a better option, and you almost certainly know that Kane's going to be the one who gets the ball and sends it up the pitch. Now, if Guardiola's potentially, thinking more outside the box, he may pick a specific set of midfielders, maybe you'll pick a couple of them, as soon as the ball is about to be passed to Kane, just go in on him and make sure he can't go anywhere, so that the likes of Son and Bale and Moura and Lamela and these sorts of players can't run up the pitch and basically just receive the ball for free. So I think Son's definitely a hold this week. This game versus City is very crucial to determine whether we load up on City assets, whether we hang on to some Spurs, or whether we get a mix of both teams. So we'll have to see kind of on that front. But I think Heung-min Son, if you have him, especially if you have Kane as well, I would say out of the two, probably keep Son. And the other hold for this week is Harry Kane, the other Spurs asset, currently sitting at 11 million. He's got 80 points this season, 7 goals, 8 assists. He averages 10 points a game. That's insane. He got 9 points last week in a very, kind of scruffy, kind of Mourinho style of win. And like I said, he has City at home. Now, if there's anyone that's going to score versus the bigger teams, it's probably going to be Kane, especially if they get a penalty. Kane is very unlikely to miss. Now, we thought De Bruyne that was the case, and missing the target, but every time Kane steps up, he's like Bruno Fernandes in a sense. You almost, 99.9%, it's going to go in the back of the net, and they have done for quite a while in their careers of taking penalties. More so than De Bruyne, who has only been taking penalties for for Man City recently because Aguero took them for the most part. But Kane is somebody he's a bit weird because all of his stats back up to say to keep him, but he's going to be somebody that if you got on him early, he's going to provide you value, but that value can also be translated into other, cheaper, better assets. So, like we mentioned, Ollie Watkins, if you don't have Calvert-Lewin for the next 3 games, he could be someone who could be good. Bamford showed to be quite good. Wilson has shown to be quite good in patches. There's a lot of value forwards in the game. Antonio, if he comes back, Kane could, make way for him. Even Jamie Vardy over the next 4 fixtures could outscore Kane. We don't know if he keeps getting penalties. So it's going to be interesting to see in this game. I'm hanging on to both Son and Kane for this game week for sure. Unless some injury news changes my mind, in which case then we'll be getting rid of either of them if they are injured or something happens. But I think that this game will tell us a lot how Mourinho is going to play in the run-up fixtures over Christmas. Kane and Son are most likely going to be the ones that are going to be starting game in, game out. So if you have them, they're pretty much assured starters. Just a matter of can they perform against the big teams, and this will basically make or break Spurs' kind of season, as it were, in the Christmas period. Now, the first player I have on the sell list is Romain Saïss of Wolverhampton Wanderers. He currently sits at 5.2 million, 38 points, 1 goal, no assists, just under 18% ownership, and he averages 6 points a game. However, he hasn't played the last 2 games. He has a next fixture versus Southampton at home, which would normally be a good fixture, but he seems to have lost his place to Kilman, and they've gone with that new youngster at left back. I can't pronounce his name for the life of me, but he scored a goal recently as well, and they have Semedo out on the right-hand side at right wing back. And then they have Kilman, Bali, and Cody kind of as their back 3. So Saïss has been dropped to the bench. Now, there is a chance, I think, over the Christmas period that Saïss sees games for sure, especially with the amount of rotation that's going to be needed to keep up with these fixtures. I believe there's like 8 or 9 fixtures in 6 weeks, which is a bit hectic, and that's not even including the likes of, Champions League games or Cup games or Europa League games or any of these types of other competitions that could be smashed in between these game weeks. So I think you'll definitely see some games. Is he good enough to, kind of get, a couple starts on the bounce? We'll have to see. There might have to be a significant injury in the team. Again, Marcel is someone who could potentially keep him out of left wing back as well. If Kilman stays fit, I think that back 3 has been looking solid, and I think when it comes to his center backs, Nuno Espirito Santo doesn't really experiment with them too much. Left wing back and right wing back, sure. Midfield, sure. His front line, apart from Jimenez, sure. But Saïss is just one of those players that I think he's too much of a rotation risk, and you could just make the easy move to likes of Reece James. You get a little bit extra cash. You can go up to the likes of Ben Chilwell, both play for Chelsea. Or you can even downgrade him to a much cheaper starting asset like Masuaku or Kufau from West Ham, or even the likes of Lamptey at Brighton. These sorts of defenders that are going to play game in, game out could be better value. So I think Romain Saïss, if you have him, definitely a sell for me this game week. The other player on our sell list here is Daniel Podence, somebody who is quite hyped in the first 2 game weeks and hasn't really lived up to the expectation over the past few game weeks. I personally have him in my team and have had him since game week 3, where he ended up blanking. So 29 points, 1 goal, 2 assists for the season, 3.7% ownership, 4.1 points per game, only scored 1 point, getting hooked off at the 59th minute in their previous outing. Just not ideal. He looks so bright when he plays, but for some reason he just keeps getting subbed off. I'm not sure why. The stats show that he should be a good FPL asset. It should show that he's just a good Wolves asset in general in terms of just playing games for them. But for some reason he just keeps getting taken off before Pedro Neto, who is, a little bit left to be desired there. And I think that Podence, when he plays kind of in that shadow striker role or coming in off the left in behind Jimenez, he picks up very good positions, and I'm still not sure why he keeps getting taken off. But with this kind of rotation risk, next we're going to start seeing Neto go to the other side and Traore starting in the front line. That could be a possibility, and I'm just trying to find ways to potentially maybe give him one more game week. I think if you have him and you have, no other major fires to put out, potentially look to go to sell. But if you have Salah and you don't have basically a midfielder that's going to play like myself, I have Salah, who is probably not going to play this week, may not even play next week. And then I have Burke as my fifth midfielder. He's not guaranteed to play minutes. So again, Pedence, somebody who could be on the chopping block this game week. I potentially could move to the likes of Grealish or Barkley. Those are two players from Aston Villa. Even Jota, his former compatriot over at Wolves. Could be someone to move to as well. But I think if you're gonna get rid of somebody this week, if you can make the the move for a free transfer, Daniel Pedence is definitely on that list. And that's going to do it for the Game Week 9 edition of Buy, Hold, and Sell. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It greatly helps out the channel. And turn those notification bells on so you can get great videos like this one, as well as many others as soon as they are readily available. And leave a comment down below as to who you're going to be buy, holding, or selling for this game week. Also, make sure to check out our poll that we have on YouTube here for the captaincy options. That is should be up at the time of the captaincy video releasing. It's already been out for a day or so, so make sure to go over there and let your thoughts be known as to what captain you are going to be having this week, because there are a lot to kind of think over and potentially look, because not the usual captains are available this week. KDB plays Spurs, Kane and Son play City, Salah is out. Liverpool's team look like they're only going to have one starter that's going to be like Mane, that's going to be recognizable from their team that they would like to start with, and it could be a bit of an interesting one. So it might even be the fact that Vardy ends up being the best captain when he has an FDR rating of 5 versus Liverpool this week, so who knows. Also, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Links are in the description. We will be doing a deadline stream this game week for Game Week 9, and that will be up 1 hour before the deadline is basically happens. Make sure to check the comment down below that is pinned. That will give you the exact time as to when that will be. Alternatively, you can always just check on the FPL site. It will tell you the time for the deadline above the fixtures for Game Week 9, and we will be starting just basically an hour before that, so make sure to check that out. And if there's any notifications or updates or anything that's going to be posted, check out Twitter for that. That's usually where I post my final lineup as well. If there are any last minute changes with the deadline stream this week, it should be, if you tune in for that, you'll know what my lineup is. But for like next week, as an example, since there's a game on the Friday, I'll have to post my lineup kind of midway before that and go from there. So thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.